Guys, I've got a special fucking treat for you today. This guy is a literal Spartan. He lost a lung to cancer and documented his comeback story. And now, with millions of followers, with the $1 million a month coaching business, he's got clients that are the highest level elite CEOs. And this guy don't fuck around. In this episode, you're going to fuck around and find out if you're soft, if you're feeling like, you're stagnant where you're at, you need to hear Dr. Trevor Bachmeyer's story. What's up, buddy? Welcome to the Blue Collar
What's
Board.
up, dude? What's up,
Dude,
dude? We're
fucking
gonna kill it.
legend,
It
man.
was awesome. Listen, I like rapping with you before too, man. Like it's good. It's just all you guys that are listening, you got no idea what kind of a good dude you fucking got, man. This guy's legit. He gives a shit about everybody, and that
Well,
matters to me. I wouldn't be on this show if you didn't. It's that simple because I'm picky. I don't care about the size of someone's audience. I care that the person fucking cares and matters,
dude,
right?
I connected with you through Wes Watson, and we've been back and forth on Instagram.
Yep,
My purpose is to kind of raise the status for blue collar, the working class. But dude, you're helping
yep,
everybody, man. And
yeah,
I know that you can help me a lot. I'm really pumped up about our
yeah.
future together. But for my audience, there's so many guys that are in home service. They're making money.
Mhm.
They get their wife, and then everything starts to shut the fuck down. They start to get into this complacency trap, and a lot of them are 100 pounds overweight. They're doing things that could kill them, like smoking cigarettes or doing drugs. More importantly, man, I mean, I've literally been coaching these guys, roofers, doing lots of good things, and 3 of my clients have passed away from drug overdose. I've had
Yeah,
family members pass away to suicide. Mental fucking health, and it's a big fucking deal, man. And
yeah.
going through the big C,
Mhm.
I can only imagine. And I just kind of want to hear about your journey. I see the content
Sure.
on Instagram. When did you start creating content? Was this an inspiration?
Dude, no, I've been on social media for almost a decade, right? So I started posting, which is funny because people go, "Oh, nobody's looking at my content. How long you been doing it?" Like a month. Fuck. Are you shitting me? Dude, I've been 10 years I've been at this. I mean, I still have days where I'm like crickets, right? Cricket, just nothing. But no, I started posting when I was doing like PT and Chiro and sports med stuff. And I gave away all the secrets. I used to get phone calls at my clinic. Doctors so pissed off at me. They'd be like, "You're stealing all my fucking patients." I go, "If you're doing the right thing, I wouldn't be stealing anybody. You suck at your job. How about just be better at being you? That's it. Because I'm not doing anything you shouldn't know." Right. And so patients would come in because they'd see me. I'd be like, "Here's how you fix your shoulder, your elbow, your neck, your whatever." I gave it away, not this, "Here's 5%. Now buy my shit." Right. I was like, "Here's all of it." And I never pitched because I didn't care. I was trying to help people. And so that's how I started. And then all of a sudden I started posting like my workouts and my mindset behind my workouts and why I was doing it. And people really resonated with that. You're like, fuck, this guy's philosophical, man. He's got some serious like thought process going on. His belief systems are solid. And I started bringing people along with like fuck ups and successes all day long. And I thought, oh, the more authentic I get, the more I resonate with real people, right? Because this is full of highlight reels, right? And so I don't post highlight reels. I just post, like yesterday. I went for a walk out here, and I was like, "Listen, this is the city was built on losers, right? And all you guys, this is the conversation that's going to make you a millionaire." The one with yourself. And then I went, and now everybody just swiped right to the next post. And I go, "That's your fucking problem." Because you don't want to acknowledge that the conversation with yourself is the one that matters more than anything else. "Oh, come on, I don't believe in that." And my comments always the same to people as I say, "Okay, listen, you don't believe that self-talk actually matters. No problem. That's you do you, man. But here's the deal. I want you to go home, just do this for me. Go home, look in the mirror, tell yourself you're gonna die of a terminal disease, look right in your eyes and say it every day for 10 minutes every day." "Oh, why would I do that? That's fucking stupid." Let me get this straight. So if you believe in that and you say that's stupid, then why wouldn't the inverse be true? And you're like, that would be badass. The default human thinking is negative, and even that's not the problem. It's the problem that the human being has about 60,000 thoughts a day, right? And the disconcerting part of that is most of them are the same thoughts they had yesterday, and there's always negative thoughts. You're sitting up, you're waking up shit talking yourself every fucking day, and then seeking acceptance and validation for 15 hours on social media.
It's fucking crazy,
How's that?
man.
How's
It's
that going
crazy.
to help you, right?
It's not going to help you at
Like,
all. And it's funny,
no.
like this journey of building a personal brand, has it helped you in your journey, like in
Oh
developing
yeah.
like personal development? How
I became a I became a better person, like by far, but I do every day. Like if you think you reach the top, that's the problem is when you get there and you're like, okay, I finally did it. And that's what people think, right? They're like, I'm going to hit my million for the year. First of all, $1 million a year. It's not meant to be insulting. People are like, oh, listen to this cocky fuck. That is nothing. That is nothing. That is $83,300 a month. And it is not very much money. It doesn't matter. If you're making $32,000 a year, listen, I have no disrespect for that. What I have is disrespect for your lack of initiative to do more because you'll sit at home and look at Netflix all day and tell your wife that you're doing as much as you can and you need a break. But it's because your day is full of empty pockets. You got white space on your calendar, so your day sucks. And I'll come into that whole like depression, anxiety, and I'll explain all that because I think that's a big problem right now. Because number one, you're being bombarded with negative information all the time. Everybody's miserable and negative. And the other part is just nothing but time sucking all day, right? But what I had to do was look at myself and go, where are all the holes in my life? And it's an ugly conversation. I have it every day. And it's how I coach people. I go, listen, I'm going to look at you like if I was like, okay, Lee, here's the deal. This is how I coach. And I'm very binary about it, very transparent. And I go, listen, I'm going to look at your life and I'm going to go, how do I completely burn your life to the fucking ground? How do I find out? How do I make sure your wife leaves you? Your kids fucking hate you. Your dog dies. You lose your house. You lose all your money. You're bankrupt. You're living under a bridge and you want to just end it. That's what I look for. I go, how do I fucking do that to Lee? And then I go, here's all the holes. Now let's get to work plugging them. Most coaches don't do that. They go, okay, I got this really cool program. We're going to do all this. Yeah, but what about all the shit that's underneath that's preventing me from even thinking I can do that? And so because I got that from myself. I don't do any coaching with anyone that I can't do to myself because it's a waste.
Because if somebody has a fucked up emotional state or they're fucked up in the head, it doesn't matter what you teach them in business, they're always going to fuck it up.
They'll never get it.
My mom
They'll never get it.
That. She's like, Lee, you know, all your executive coaching doesn't work if people are mentally unhealthy. And I'm like, oh, there's a counselor answer for you. Yeah. But you know, from a doctor's perspective, fixing people and they're and getting, you know, somebody to get a surgery or you're fixing them and they're fixed versus coaching when, you know, it's up to them to be fixed. Do you ever find yourself frustrated like that in one trade you knew you could do a good job and then this other trade you have so many people that buy the coaching but then don't take it seriously?
The follow through. So it used to frustrate me a lot. Like I would do this and then go, how are you not fucking getting it? And I used to get on the client about it, right? I'd be like, dude, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And then I looked at myself and I went, I'm not giving them enough information to make a better decision. It's not their problem, it's mine. And regardless whether it's a problem or not, it doesn't matter. It still needs to be handled, whatever the scenario. So I look at them and I went, where are you missing? It always comes down to that. It is always going to be the same thing. Where are you playing safe? Because wherever you're playing safe is where you're fucking up. It's 100% of the time.
Damn, there's gold go, right there. Where you're playing,
well, because
where you're fucking it up.
It's where you're dropping the ball, right? Because if you go, oh, well, I want to wait a little bit. Problem. Oh, I want to just save a little more money. You're not going to get there. You've been spending the last 5 years trying to save 10 grand for some rinky-dink bullshit Mickey Mouse coaching program from a man or a woman or a company that doesn't care about you. They care about you and the wire transfer or the credit card. Instead of going, I won't even take you if you don't commit. I get on a phone and go, are you going to do all the shit I say? I don't know. Convince me, right? Because it's important that people understand that the onus is on them, but the responsibility to give them all the information to do it is on me. And a lot of times we have conversations in our own head that most people aren't privy to. So they're like, oh, I don't know how to do this. And you go, well, I just told you. Meanwhile, half the conversation is missing. It's here. You didn't tell it to them. And that's the bad coaches versus good coaches, right? My job is to go, where are all the holes? And we need to get to work plugging them, and they're going to be uncomfortable. You know, well, I'm happy at 10. I know this mysterious 10 grand a month number that's come out everywhere. Let me get you to 10 grand a month. Why? How about 100 grand a month? Well, I can't process that. That's the problem. Think bigger, right? Like if you're driving 2 hours each direction to make $21,000 a year, what are you sacrificing in your life, man? If you are 80 pounds overweight and you come home and you rub the Oreo dust off your belly and you validate how you need to be a fat person navigating this world and everybody that's fit is fat shaming.
I wasn't Oreo fat. I was skinny fat. I had to have 3 or 4 beers at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the goal with the joints, you know? And
where are you missing? Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So people have this goal, but it's always comes down to the same thing. People want lots of shit. People want all kinds of stuff. Do you believe you're going to get it? And they're not the same. Because people go, oh, I want that. I don't give a fuck what you want. Do you believe it? My job is to go, let me help you believe, and then give you the tools to get there.
Yeah,
Right.
that is the
Because
problem. People
people
think they don't
disconnect.
deserve it. So you have to convince
Mhm.
people as a coach they deserve it.
You
Not
have to
in
get
the,
them to convince themselves.
oh,
Right.
there.
Because when people don't listen, yeah, when people don't listen, it's themselves. If somebody looks at a program and goes, that's not going to work for me, they're not doubting your program. They're doubting themselves. They're doubting their ability to execute. They're doubting their ability to follow through. That's why people get so triggered when you say something and and people just come at you with a bunch of anger, because accountability always feels like an attack when you hide behind your excuses. So people live in that frame of mind. And they're like, well, yeah, but you're attacking me. No, I'm not. I'm telling you the truth. If you take, here's the worst part about this, Lee, is if you take 30 days
Mhm.
to tell somebody that they're fucking fat,
Mhm.
because you're like, well, we've been really trying, we're gonna have an intervention, and I'm really trying to just, you're a little bit big, and like, like we've been noticing that like you're not really healthy. You get out of breath going up 7 stairs. If you take 30 days to do that, you stole a fucking month of their life. Tell them
Mhm.
in 2 minutes, go, listen, you're fat, work on it. Here's how. And you know what people say? Whoa, you better have some tact. At least your delivery should be better. I'm 50. You know what my gym teacher, Mr. Cragen, used to say? You're fat, work on it. So what? I'm not crying and offended about it. People are like, you don't have to be all hard and rigid. I'm not. I'm telling you the truth. But when you're honest with people, they call you an asshole. Fine, I'll be an asshole. At least I'm the one that gives a shit about you.
So on this journey, I mean, when you were creating content, have an office,
Mm-hmm.
you got your practice.
Mm-hmm.
When did you find out about your diagnosis? How old were you? When was that?
Oh God, I've gone through it 4 times.
Oh my God.
So oh yeah, listen to this. So when so before I met my wife, they diagnosed me with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 3B. It was everywhere. Looks like somebody just hit me with a 12 gauge, right? And I had a flu. Right? Doctors are the worst patients. I had a flu for 6 months, and I just didn't want to acknowledge it. And finally, it came out, and I got diagnosed all fast. All of a sudden, what happened? And they're like, "We can't do anything. Like you're literally at that stage of life." And they went, "Just go home and enjoy yourself, make peace, spend time with your friends." And I'm like, "What?" So I blew $1 million in like 3 months. You have a lot of friends when you spend a bunch of money, right? So I just went, fuck it. If I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out with a bang. And I was angry. Like I hated God. I hated my parents. I hated everybody. I was like, fuck all of you. How can a serial killer live to be 95? But I was 32, 33. Why? I have rice and chicken in my refrigerator. Like, how is that? I never ate sugar, nothing. And I was like, this is bullshit. I was so bitter. And my dad was a preacher, right? And I was like, dude, I said, Dad, God's just trying to kill me. Like, fuck him. And he was like, dude, God doesn't work like that, man. He's like, that's not how it works. And whether somebody believes in God or not is on them, but I do. And I was like, I was mad. I was like, he's just a piece of shit. So I got to the point where I was broke. And I mean, like I had nothing, like zero. And I was in my apartment, and I was mad, and I looked out my apartment windows, and I said, my sliding door, this tiny little, my balcony was about this big, and I had like cheap ass broken furniture, and I said, you know what, God, you better give me a fucking reason to be here, because I'm not gonna, I thought he was gonna win. If I died, I thought God was gonna win, and I wasn't gonna let him. I'm competitive. And I said, fuck you, I'll just do it myself. And I sat there, and I was shaking and crying, and I fell apart, bawling my eyes out, and I fell asleep holding a gun in my hand. And 2 days later, I met my wife.
Mm, thank God.
And I sat there. Well, listen, and I sat there across the table. Listen to this. And so our very first date, we barely knew, like we didn't know each other. We just sat there at this restaurant. And I said, I got to tell you something. I'm sitting there going, fuck, I'm in love with this woman, man. Like everything about me wants to spend my life with her. And they gave me less than 9 months to live. And I said, Brandy, I got to tell you something, man. And she goes, because I had to take the chance of her getting up and leaving. Because I can't be that douche that goes, let's fall in love and create this life. Meanwhile, I know that I'm not going to last. Look, what a shitty thing to do. Right. So I was like, I can't be that guy. That's what a boy does, not a man. And I said, I got to tell you something. She goes, is it about cancer? And I was like, yeah, that's weird. How did you know? And she's like, well, some of the people at the gym, they've seen you like sick and coughing up blood and stuff in the locker, and like you're not doing so good. And I go, yeah, they didn't give me a lot of time. I said, I just need you to know. She didn't miss a beat, Lee. She didn't fucking blink. She goes, I'll take 2 days, 2 minutes. 2 years. She goes, I don't care. She goes, I want all your time. And she's like,
That's awesome.
I'm your angel. And she goes, I'm your angel. I'm here to save you. And 3 months later, we were engaged. 3 months after that, we were married, and it's been 18 years.
Oh my
I
God.
did I did chemo. It made me I could barely walk. I'd come home with these giant bruises like this big. I was all swollen and fucked up. My wife was pregnant. I'd watch reruns of Friends while I'd throw up in a Homer's bucket, right, from Home Depot. I'd puke in a bucket or just get sick or go to the bathroom or whatever. And my wife would be sleeping there pregnant, building our daughter. And I'm sitting here sick as fuck on chemo. And I was like, I can't do this, man. I can't do this. They gave me what's called the CHOP series of chemotherapy. Brutal. It made me so sick. And I finally one day went into the doctor's office, like an oncologist, which is the doctor you never want to have. And I said, if I was your son, would you do this, man? Would you do this? If I was your kid, would you do this? He's like, oh, yeah, absolutely. I go, listen. And I remember I just banged the floor and I said, fucking look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Fuck, look at me. I look like a skeleton, man. Like, would you do this? And he tears up and he goes, no, because if you were my son, I wouldn't do this. And I said, it's the last time you're going to see me. And I shook his hand and I left. And I did everything possible to basically disconnect with cancer as something that I had.
Mm-hmm.
I never took ownership of it. I created it as something I'm like, you're going to die. It's either you or me, man. It's either you or me. And so I went to war. But I said, I'm not going anywhere. I will do everything in my power to stay here. But I started thinking different. People go, oh, did chemotherapy help you? I go, no. Almost fucking killed me. They burn you, they slice you, they poison you. I don't care. I'll put a blanket statement out there for every oncologist out there. Fuck all of you. You guys hurt people. You fucking hurt people. Fuck all of you sick motherfuckers. You hurt people. You poison them, you burn them, and you slice them, and then you go, the chemo worked when they happened to get better. It didn't work. They were lucky that your shit didn't fucking kill them. Because when I stopped listening to all of those, I got better. But it's also when I took better care of myself. I went, let me get my head right. I refused to watch anything negative. I cut out every bad person in my life that was anything that was negative in my life. And I realized that the conversations inside your head are the ones that have the most profound effect in your life. Right. And so I had to go, I need to speak better about myself and, and be careful what you say because you're listening. Right. And people don't get that. They're like, oh, but they're just words. Yeah. They're the words that you're listening to more than anyone else's. The dialogue you run in your head is the one that's affecting you the most. It's not what other people say. It's what you think about what they say. And that's not the same, And so fast forward to, I guess, about 26 months ago, we went to Disneyland. Lee, I thought I was on fucking game, man. I was killing it. I was jacked and strong and fast. I was running. I was doing all kinds of stuff. Like I was an animal. And I went out and we came back from Disneyland. It's or Disney World, right? My family had never been, so I took them there for a week. And I had this little tickle in my chest when I was done this workout. My son was getting sick. My wife was already sick. And I went, okay, I got my son's cold. Fuck. 5 days later, I'm in ICU fighting for my life. She brought me to the hospital at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. I said to her, I go, you need to take me to the hospital. Something's really wrong. And I got there. It was 106-degree fever. And I couldn't walk. She had to walk me in. They dropped me into a chair and they rushed me upstairs. Got all kinds of stuff taken care of, and they got me hooked up to keep me alive. And then they kicked her out of the fucking hospital. And they kept her out. Fuck that. I watched my kids and my wife from a third floor fucking glass window for 6 days. My wife snuck in because they said they kicked her out. And I was like, are you shitting me? They took my phone, put it really far away. Like they literally disconnected me from everything. 3 days in, and I won't say any of the words because I don't want you to get your video pinched because they will, but they gave me a chemical. They tried to diagnose me with that weird thing that went on for 2 years. And they tested me, IgG, which is the test, right? 4 times, 0. They nose fucked me once, 0. So they put in my file that thing right? It wasn't it. So just all the bullshit they gave me, but they gave me this drug that was for curing that. And that you get to a point where like I sent my wife a message, Lee, I shit you not, 2 o'clock in the morning. And it's the only time in my life that I felt like I was really not going to make the morning. And I can't explain it. I felt this weird sense of peace where I went, and not like just bad. I was sad. And I'm like, fuck, I'm not going to make it. I'm really going to die here tonight. Holy shit. And I sent her this message and I said, babe, I'm not going to make it. And here's all the stuff that you need to know about life. Like, make sure you know all the passwords, make sure you know how to run our life, make sure, and we have no secrets. Like, the ultimate hack for marriage, by the way, is to be completely vulnerable and give them all the tools to destroy you, knowing they're not going to. That's the marriage hack. It doesn't have to be complicated. You want to have the best marriage? Do that, right? But she sends me a message back and says, I can't do this life without you. I need you. And I just was like, and I'm bawling my eyes out, right? And I was like, holy shit. And I got mad. I got so mad at whatever it was trying to kill me. And I was like, the fuck with you. The fuck with you that I'm going to go down without a fight. The fuck with you. In fact, you know what? It's you or me. I did the same thing again. And it became an entity. And I said, all right, I'll go to war with you. You're going to fucking lose. I'm going to take you out. You're going to lose. And I did. And 3 days later, so they were giving me this drug, and my wife is so smart. Holy shit, she's creepy fucking smart, right? And she goes, I don't think what they're doing for you is helping you. That was all I needed to hear. See, I have enough trust. Like, I trust my wife more than anybody else in the world at all. So if she says, we got to do this, okay. So I go, let's get out. So 3 days in, I went, let's go. I was getting worse when they started giving me that drug. Not better, worse. So I left on oxygen, barely being able to walk. And I walked out of there. I had to bring an oxygen monitor with me everywhere I went. I'd get tired walking to the bathroom. 3 days later, or 3 weeks later, I mean, I had oxygen. I'd walk around with that stupid blue machine, just pumping away. I worked out. I didn't care. I was skinny. 3 weeks later, I have this back pain. And I said, you got to take me to urgent care. Something's off. I thought, little white lie. And I said, maybe just more antibiotics, right? Because I didn't want her to worry. Right? My job is to protect my family and my wife. I don't want to stress them out. We're sitting there and they take a picture. He goes, come here for a second. I come around the corner and I look at the x-ray, and there's a football-sized tumor in my chest. It's like this fucking big. And I went, I've seen thousands of x-rays. I knew what it was right away. And I'm like, I almost threw up. I was like, holy shit. And he goes, you need to go to ER right now. And it was right across the street. And I said, babe, we got to go to emergency. And she blanches out white. And she's like, okay. They took me in there for 3 days. And there was like COVID patients up and down the hallways. There's 2 tents outside, like just like fucking bullshit. And they spent 3 days trying to find me a doctor and a bed. They were like, we can't find anybody here in the state. We can't find a surgeon. We can't find anybody. We're gonna have to ship you out of state. And I knew if I went out of state, if I got on a plane, I wasn't getting it off. I knew if I got on that plane, because I was getting worse for 3 days. And it was to the point that I had a hard time getting up out of the bed and going for a walk more than 5 to 6 feet before I was like, I had to pee in a little, like, piss cup in my bed. Like, it was brutal. And I just kept getting worse. And I stood there one day and I'm like, they had just told me, we're going to have to ship you out of state. We can't find anybody. My wife had just left. And I sat there and I went, okay. I started thanking God. So thank you for making me a juggernaut, covering me in muscle, giving me another 50 years with my wife and kids, making me so unstoppable. Thank you for making me a fucking killer, and like giving me the best surgeon in the world. Like, I just went off about all this stuff for about 10 minutes. And then I sat on my bed and I started crying. 10 minutes. Shit, this is the craziest fucking thing. 10 minutes on the glass. And then the door opens. Trevor Bachmeyer. I'm like, yeah, And he goes, just letting you know your ride is going to be here in a half hour for your surgery tomorrow at noon. And I'm like,
oh my God.
I fucking kid you not, man. And I sent Brandy a message, get the kids, I have surgery tomorrow. She's like, what? On my way. Next day, it was literally bang, bang, bang. The surgeon I got, best thoracic surgeon in the United States, just happened to be in Dallas. It's Dr. Poole. It was the craziest thing. I get the surgery. I kissed my wife. I didn't know if I was ever going to see her again, right? And it's thoracic surgery. Like, when the doctor goes, you need thoracic surgery, I was like, what? Like, I didn't break my ankle, man. Holy shit, that's the top of the food chain. Take me in, put me on the table, lock me into place. I'm out. I wake up. I'm in the room. I got garden hoses coming out of my chest when I wake up. I got IV lines in me everywhere. And I'm like, oh, and I'm high as hell. And I told my wife before I went into surgery, I go, no matter what, you film everything. She's like, okay. So she's got me all on video, just all spazzy, and I'm actually funny. It's like I'm an idiot drunk. It's hilarious. But the doctor said, okay, listen, he goes, we got the tumor out. He goes, we got it all. He goes, we had to take your left lung too. And I was like, holy shit. It kind of didn't register until I got a little more alert. About a half hour after surgery, after I woke up, I'm still high. And I said, get me up out of this bed. And she said, and this lady, right, little Filipino nurse goes, no, you just had surgery. thoracic surgery. You need to accept it. You need to understand. You got to rest and relax. I was like, oh, in my head, I'm like, you don't fucking know me, lady. And I said, you have two choices. You can get me up off the floor, or you can help me up out of this bed. Either way, I'm getting the fuck out of this bed. So there's me holding my gown in the back so my bare ass doesn't stick out, holding this IV pole and a box connected to the tubes and a vacuum line to the wall and IVs in me. I had one in my shoulder, one in my arm, and I'm walking circles around my room, about 10-foot circle. And that was the beginning. They told me it would be 2 weeks. I was home in 7 days. I got it. As soon as they disconnected me from that wall, I go, where can I walk? And they're like, you just have to stay on this floor. You just can't go out these two big double doors. I said, okay. So I started doing laps around the nurse's station. My first lap took me 10 minutes. Took me forever. My wife would walk with me whenever I was there. When they sent me home, it pulled the tubes out of me, which is nasty. And I got home. I saw my wife and kids, the longest car ride home. I hugged my kids and I missed them, right? I was like, okay, I'm going to be the best at this fucking shit. That's what I thought. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this so well. I got it. Okay, I got it. I'm going all in on this. And I refuse to quit. I've missed a day since. She goes, what do you want to do? My wife says, what do you want to do? I said, I want to work out. She's like, okay. So I hooked up a sled to my waist with a long 20-foot strap, put a 45-pound plate on it, my fringe sled. And my driveway is like 400 feet round, just gravel, right? And I said, all I could do is walk. I had 6 giant incisions in me. So I couldn't lift anything. And I was all skinny. Like I was 153 pounds when they rolled me out of the hospital in a wheelchair with 12 prescriptions and said, this is your new life. You need to accept it. Fuck you. No, I don't. You can accept it. I refuse. And so I started walking. I told Brandy, I said, come get me when I'm done, when I can't walk anymore. And that was day one. I haven't missed a day since, ever. And it's been 25 months. I refused. I said, I will not quit. I will quit when God says it's time for me to go. And I think that's the mindset people don't have, but it's in you, man. Every human being has that.
Dude, there's a lot of fucking crazy parts of your story, how you personified it. And that was a turnaround that you said, no, fuck you. And you make a person, whether it's an institution, whether it's the people that are against you, there's something about the people that are the most successful that aren't afraid with literally personifying what's coming after them. I don't know.
The opposition.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people just want to ignore that. Like there's not a force out there in this world that isn't working, to destroy everything.
Dude, that's my motto is always kill it or be killed by it. And people go, come on. I go, dude, life is a competition. You understand that, right? Like life is a competition. And you want to say, I'm going to give you an 11th place trophy and everybody should make $42,000 a year and it should all be happy and wonderful and blue and the whole world is amazing. That's great. Make it that way. Then fucking make it that way. You are entitled to nothing. When people go, I deserve a better life. What work did you do to get it? What work did you do? You deserve it? I'm all for it. I'm all for it. What work did you do? Because right now the work you did is brought you to exactly where you are right now. Don't complain about the shit you don't have from the work you didn't do. Bro, everything you want is on the other side of the fucking work you are avoiding.
Look, I had the skinny fat dad bod and it was failing at 75 hard 4 different times. And I was in a group of guys, a mastermind where people weren't failing. I was in the Arte Syndicate. All these other guys are doing it. And I'm like, you're a fucking bitch.
With Frisella and my
having conversations with everybody, dude. And you're one of these fucking guys that that's got this fucked up conversation with himself where you're always.
That's what it is though. Where are you missing? Right? Where are you missing?
And at that time it was drinking. But the reality is that, getting into the gym has been such a phenomenal, like for my relationship, for my happiness, for my connection with God, and for my money. Sure. So for my industry, it's fucking crazy.
You put time into, like when people go, I know fat guys that are really rich. Cool, I do too. How much more would they have, and how much better would they be if they were fit?
And more importantly, bro, like you told me a story before, the guy's trying to hire you, trying to double your coaching rate. And you told him, I'm not fucking working with you unless you go to the gym. And that's what I tell people a lot of times. But I'll be honest with you, sometimes I'm afraid because so many of them are not in the gym and are in terrible shape and are doing things that would prevent them from even wanting to go to the gym.
But that's up to you, man, to do that. So you have to ask, here's the way I look, like when I coach people, it's always the same. I go, there's nothing I'm going to have you do that I don't actually do. Not that that's a weird thing when people go, that I would be willing to do myself. Are you doing it? Well, no, but I would be willing to. Then don't talk about it. Don't coach it. Don't coach it. If you aren't actually doing it, don't coach it because you can't. You're not doing the work as the coach to do it. So I look at that and I go, if I'm willing to do it, great. But if I'm actually doing it, you better listen to me. because thinking and doing what you do has given you the life that you have. Doing what I do has given me my life. Right. And so people take advice from coaches all the time. People, celebrities, they look at people all the time and they pay to watch these fucking people and they take their advice, but yet they don't really want the life they have. Well, then why are you taking their advice?
Have you ever thought about having your own gym? I mean, I know we're making money hand over fist. I'm
Couple,
sure that you have.
couple of times I've thought about it. And you know what? What's interesting is my wife and I, one time we went to buy a gym. It was going under. And I was like, dude, it's going under because of, it's always leadership is always the problem. Leadership is always the answer. Right. And I said, the leadership's terrible. Well, we gave them the offer was actually really good. They wound up getting less money the way they did it, but their ego, just a bunch of fucking tiny little balls got in the way, right? So they were super pissed off. And I said, this is how much we'll give you. I'll write you a check right now and we'll take over and we will run it. I already know my wife is a killer organized. She could be a CEO all day long in her life, all fucking day. She runs it so tight. It's awesome. I love that. I couldn't do half the shit I do if I didn't have the support of my wife. I couldn't. But together, so I know this, a man and a woman aligned are the most unstoppable force in the universe. A man and a woman incongruent are the most lethal force to each other, right? And so we went in on this gym and they basically, they were like, oh, yeah, okay, we'll think about it. And they sent me this scathing text message the next day. I can't believe how fucking insulted we were that you would offer us so that you got to pay to play, brother, and all this. I'm like, you guys are broke. You're bankrupt and your gym is closed.
Yeah.
What are you so egotistical about? Like, dude, grow a set of fucking balls, man up, and actually go, this guy's going to keep, like, you're losing, you pissed off all these customers. And then they up and moved. So they literally ghosted everybody. I'm like, that's such a shitty fucking cowardice
Isn't
thing
that
to
fucking
do.
ridiculous that they wouldn't even, that's so stupid, but it just seems like,
No, so now we just, go ahead. No, go ahead.
well, it just seems like the whole part of a mastermind with you would have to involve fitness. It would have to involve.
It's not an option for the sole reason that for me, it's not an option. Like
Uh,
even my post this morning, I went different location, same routine. I
uh,
don't care where I'm at
uh-huh.
because I can't listen. Steve Jobs, all his money, he's got more money than I got. Well, he did, he's passed away, but he couldn't write a check for another day. Why would I ever jeopardize that? Why would I ever jeopardize that? They're like, well, yeah, but I'll do it later. Later is going to be the day that you're sitting in your deathbed going, I should have. I have guys all the time. This is the part that I don't get. They go, well, we prioritize family over money. Yeah, cool. Good for you. You're fucking stupid. Here's why. Because while you're at the park on Sunday throwing your frisbee around, having a barbecue in your $25, hibachi that you bought at Target, great. All that's fine and dandy. You spend 4 hours there cuddling with your kids, brushing your wife's hair and painting her fucking toes. Well, great. Except when you go home, your kids hear? They hear you two scrapping about money. You're still driving that piece of shit car. You have to save 2 years to go on a vacation. You haven't had air conditioning in your house yet, and you live in Texas. And all of this is a problem, but you're sitting there going, but we prioritize our memories. But the issue is that your kids and your wife are not going to remember what you want them to remember. They're going to remember that they didn't have the life they wanted because you were too fucking lazy. I will give my wife and my kids everything. I mean, I will bleed and skin myself to make sure they have it all. However, I will make sure that I'm doing it so they have it all. Because the memories that we're going to have are going to be ones that are backed by the support of the money, the mindset, and the fitness that we have. You cannot, if you are fat, sloppy, and broke, and you're like, but we prioritize our family. Dude, they're not going to remember that. They're going to remember that dad couldn't get up off the park bench and run with him at 3 years old. And that your wife, listen, no wife wants to fuck a fat dude, man. Like, it's like, I don't care what you say.
Right.
When you're unhealthy, she doesn't want to push you around in a wheelchair, but the inverse is true. He doesn't want to push your big ass around in your moo either. You guys, I love my wife enough to make sure that I take care of myself the best for her. And that's, people go, oh, these guys that are all fit and jacked, they're all about themselves. Some of them maybe, but I'm about it because I want to be here for my wife. You don't know when you're going to go. Nope, you're right. But I'm going to fight it every step of the way because I want to be here, be able to do things. So for you to sit there and go, I'm not going to build the empire to do all the things I want to do with my family because what? I want to go to the park and build memories. but those memories are not going to be the ones they remember. They're the ones you want them to remember. And you know what? I asked my son one day, we were talking about one of my watches, right? And he was looking, he's like, oh, that watch is really cool. I got this red RM55, right? And he's looking at it and he's like, oh, how much is that watch? I said, that's about $400,000. And he was like, for a watch? And I said, yeah. And he's like, wow, can I look at it? I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, take a look, right? And I go, why should we be wealthy, Pierce? Why should we be rich? He's 14. He didn't miss a beat. He goes, freedom. And I said, exactly. I don't give a fuck about the money. People that run on such a shallow, superficial level go, money, money, money. But it's not the money. It's the freedom and good you can. Like, I think everybody should make a shitload of money and do a ton of good with it. A ton of good with it, right? Like, I did a coach call from Andy's place twice. I did it on Saturday and on Sunday. I did my mastermind on Saturday and my inner circle business on Sunday, right? And Adam, he runs the We Earn It All division, the fitness division. He's such a good dude, man. This guy's a monster of a human. And he's sitting on the other side because I couldn't get the tech to work. And he goes, come on, come into my office, right? So I go downstairs and get all hooked up. And he's sitting there holding up his phone, like recording me over the ledge, right? And he goes, how much is your coaching program? And I go, 100 grand. And he goes, I would pay 100 grand for that heartbeat. He goes, I wouldn't even think twice about it. Just for that information you just gave me in the last hour. He goes, that is so awesome. And he literally wrote shit down, made posts about it. Like, he's like, this is great. And I think people undervalue themselves and their ability to help other people, which is why they don't help other people, because they play safe. I want to give them advice, but what if they don't like what I say? Maybe I should say it a little differently. Don't wrap it up any other way than the way that you would say it to yourself. That's all you got to remember.
I think that's some of the best advice you gave me, dude, about writing copy marketing, having a conversation just like you're having a conversation with somebody right across the table, your ideal buyer.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. Well, and your buyer, though, when you're coaching or when you're selling a product or a service, it's this way, though. You have to go, if you're looking at it going, okay, if I close this guy, if I close this girl, if I close this company, it's going to be $1 million. It's going to show up in my bank account. That's why you don't have it. That's why you don't have it. Instead of looking at how do I make more money, you go, how do I solve more problems? If you get really good at solving problems, just really good at solving one problem, get so good at that nobody else doubts you. And you become the expert by showing people you're the expert. You don't show them all the people that you've helped. You show them how to do everything. It's called the halo effect, right? It's
Dude,
like you just keep giving, you just give shit away. Just give shit away.
Let me paint some vision into you a little bit, because here's what this is my big picture of what I want to see for my industry. You've seen the roofing contractor. You're from Dallas, Fort Worth. You know, about 8 years ago, I decided I need to build a personal brand, and you know, to coach on the internet, it helps you connect with a whole different audience. And as opposed to thinking about hiring all the time, I just started thinking about,
you can pick your audience too.
Exactly. Coach, add value, and then work with the people that are in your audience, that are in your programs. And I think that everyone needs to become a coach. I mean, if you're a leader in business,
you are anyway, though, right?
You are anyways. You are anyways.
Yeah. As a father, as a mother, you always are.
And so I just think that if you're watching this, like, guys, if you're in Dallas, Fort Worth, Trevor here, like, he's got 1 million followers on Instagram alone. He's an incredible, like, coach. He's built a $10 million coaching business. And if you're like, how do I build a team? These guys come to me, Trevor, because they want to know, how do I hire salespeople? Well, one of the best ways to do it is to find a guy like Trevor and say, hey, how do I build my brand, tell my story, and connect with the people, not just in my audience, but in yours? How can I add value? How can we help them? And that's the conversation we're going to have, because I see a lot of opportunity in your audience.
Sure.
I think I can help them in high ticket home service. I think you can help a lot of my guys get in better shape. And I think there's a big win, because I need a coach. I mean, a coach without
that's why I built my community, though, right? Like, I built my community. My community all sells to each other because they're vetted. They're vetted. Everybody in my community behind the wall all sells to each other because everybody's vetted, because I don't let anybody come into my backyard that I wouldn't trust. So if I would be willing to do business with you, then of course you're not going to be willing to do business. And I make sure I've had so many people, oh yeah, I talked to Matt and he helped, Joe, he helped me with this. Yeah, exactly. I want you guys to all do business together, because it's a safe place. You don't have to go like, who the fuck am I getting? You don't have to worry.
Marriage guy, Matt Ray's buddy.
No, Matt's a credit guy in my group. He's a
Okay.
good dude. This guy's a good dude. Yeah.
Can't wait to meet him, buddy. Well, how can
Yeah,
people
he's a
from
good
my
dude.
audience connect with you? Where can they find you?
Dude, you go to Smashworks, WERX. Everybody spells it WORKS, WERX, smashworks.com. You go to the Spartan Army LLC.com. You look up Spartan Army, you find me. You go to Smashworks on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever it is now. Literally go on to Instagram and send me a message. The guy that's answering all these is me. I get about 5,000 messages a day, and almost all of them, I have to say almost, because some of them I'm like, that's not even a real person. And I swipe out, but because I get botted like crazy. But it's always me. I do my comments, I do my answers, but that's how you get in touch with me. And you know what? Most people, like if you send me a message and you got questions, I will answer you. But the other thing is, I ain't going to waste your time. If you really want to level up, you really want to go to wherever you want to go, I don't care where it is, then you have to be willing to do that for yourself. It has nothing to do with my coaching. I'll get you there, but you got to be willing to believe in yourself. And that's where people struggle. The disconnect is never with the coach. It's with the person themselves and who they see in the mirror, because they look in the mirror and they look behind them.
Hey, I love the
Right?
homework assignment I got. And for anybody watching this, if you want to get started, the first step is what?
90 days. What do you want to do in 90 days? People set targets way too long. And I'll stop there. 90 days. People go, oh, no, what's your 2-year goal, your 3-year goal, your 10-year goal? 90 days. Because your brain starts to go, it's too far away. It has nothing. People are like, oh, but I read that like Zig Ziglar said this. Listen, I love all those guys and they know what they're doing. Brian Tracy, all these old school guys, they know what they're doing. However, most people don't have the capacity to see beyond a 90-day hit. So they get really lost and they go, well, that mountain is so far away. And they start to find reasons to not do it, right? The number of times most people try and achieve their goal, less than one, because they talk themselves out of it before they even engage, which is what happens when your goal is too big and too far away. Set big ass targets, but set them in 90-day chunks. And it's
90-day goals. Write them down.
90-day chunks.
Hey, you want to be held accountable? Comment your 90-day goals in the comments. Me and Trevor will help hold you accountable, help you get there.
Fuck yeah, we will.
Man, dude, what a fucking incredible conversation. There's almost an hour of conversation offline that was even better than the online conversation. But
dude,
we got to do events together. One coming up in Dallas. We got to have you at the Blue Collar American Dream Conference. And
name it.
I got to
just
get
tell me,
involved
I'll be
in the
there.
community. I got to get involved, brother. I'm gonna get involved, and I really appreciate you taking the time, dude. And
of course, brother.
Next time I'm in Dallas, my mom, she's got
just hit me up.
She's called it's called Gratitude Ranch. It's in Flower Mound, so I'll come see you, bro. Hit a workout.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely, man. So much love, dude.
All right, well, tell Brad I said hi. Have fun in Vegas.
I will.
And
all right, peace out.
Thanks.
See you, bro.
See ya.